Hey, good morning everybody. I am Mindy Rose and I am the owner of MDK Real Estate Photography. I also shoot wildlife and have been shooting wildlife for many years. And I get the question, how do you shoot hummingbirds? A lot. So I thought I'd take just a couple of minutes of your time and just give you a few basic, simple techniques and tips on how to shoot an actual hummingbird. At the end of this video, I will submit some of the photos that I've actually taken of hummingbirds just to give you an example of what I do and how I shoot them. But I wanted to spend a couple of minutes with you on my camera and show you what I did and how I did it so that you can go try yourself. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna teach you on here is basically how to get the wings to stop and how to catch it mid-air and mid-flight. This is one of my most recent shots that I've taken. This is of the male ruby-throated hummingbird. I don't know what area you're in or what your most frequent hummingbird is, but that hummingbird, the ruby-throated hummingbird, is our most popular here in Kentucky. So this particular photo was taken just a couple weeks ago, and I'm gonna teach you how to do that. So I'm gonna walk over here to my camera that I normally am outside with, but for purposes of this video, I brought it inside. So on this particular camera I use is a D500 Nikon, and it's my favorite and my go-to. It has the most abilities to see and capture what my eyes are seeing. It's really difficult to get a camera to do that. This has been so far my favorite to do that. Now I know there are upgraded cameras and more frameless cameras and things like that, but for what I shoot and what my favorite things are to shoot, this camera has been my best friend. So with a hummingbird, there is so much prep involved behind the scenes to drawing those hummingbirds in and getting them in the right spot with the right lighting. I'm gonna save that for a totally different video because it's really important that you keep them in their natural environment, and then they will come back every season. They will never leave your yard because they will be comfortable, they will be safe, and they will be fed, and they will be in their natural environment so that they progress forward as a species and we're not interfering with their natural way of life. With that being said, once I have all of that prep set up for the hummingbird, then I'm gonna take this outside and I'm gonna set it out there near whatever it is that I'm using to bring them in. On our mini farm, as you can see, this is our view. I plant lots of flowers that hummingbirds like. Their most favorite, in my opinion, here in Kentucky is the trumpet vine. So I've got that all over my fence line. So that helps. But when I really want to just sit down and wait and observe and just watch them and take photos of them, I will put a feeder up. And I'll usually leave that feeder up for a few weeks each season, depending on my schedule and my life. So when I do that, in my other video about how to bring them in, I'll teach you what I put in the feeder and how I do it. But I will camp this out next to the feeder or my trumpet vine, and I'll leave it there by itself. And I'll leave it there for a full day, and then bring it in at night, of course, and of course protect it with a towel or something if it's super hot outside, because you don't want this to be in super elements like really hot elements or really cold. And then the next day I'll stand with it and I'll observe and I will watch for a couple of hours, and I'll never take one shot because this particular camera does have a loud shutter and it will startle them. So I want them to be comfortable with me standing there next to my camera, next to their feeder. A lot of times I wear red. It really does help. So I've noticed that's my experience only. Then I will, the next day or later that evening, I'll start taking a couple of shots at them without really trying, because I want them to also get comfortable with the way my camera sounds. Once I've done that, they're pretty much oblivious to it and or don't care because they trust that you're not going to hurt them. And then I can just really start shooting away. When I do that, I make sure the sun is at my back. So with this particular yard and farm, the sun sets in the west, so I put my feeders and my flowers on this fence line, which is the east. So when I'm shooting at night in the evenings before the sun goes down, the sun is low, it's not high. When it's high in the sky, it's going to create shadow. So if you let it drop a little bit around dinner time, maybe 2 hours before sunset or so, that is your illuminative, perfect lighting setup. So that's when I'm out there. So the sun is at my back. It's late in the evening. They feed all day long, but in my particular region, they feed the most in the mornings and the evenings. And I will sit there and be able to capture a lot. So when I do that, I have my, depending on where the sun is, if the sun is directly pointed at my subject feeder, whether it is a feeder or a flower, I'm going to have my setting on direct sunlight on here, because you have options in your menu. If you go to that, you have options in here to choose white balance. And when you choose white balance, you're going to choose direct sunlight. Okay. That's only if your subject is illuminated by the sun, hitting it directly. Then I put my aperture on 32, my f-stop anywhere between 6.3 and 8. And I sometimes, if it's really shady and dark and cloudy or whatever, I will drop that down to 5, and as far down as it'll go with whatever lens you choose. So most of the time my f-stop stays between 6 and 8 when there's direct sunlight. And then my ISO, I'm going to put it up to match the aperture, which is going to be at 32. So I have aperture 32, I have ISO 32. I have this particular camera always on manual. Some people like to work out of their aperture. I don't. I like manual. I like to adjust all of it. So when you do that, what that's doing is it's reducing the noise, because a lot of times with a high ISO, you're going to get some noise in the background. When you have them matching, you capture because you want your ISO high, because you got to capture those wings. They're going really, really fast. And I want my aperture high, so that I can keep up and there's no noise. So I have found on this particular camera, which is the Nikon D500, that particular setup works the absolute best. So ISO 3200, f-stop between 6 and 8, I'm going the wrong direction, 6 and 8, and then my aperture at 32. Now, on other cameras, that may not work. What you're going to want to do when you're trying to find that right balance, just make one adjustment at a time. So, okay, 7's not working, let's change it to 8. 32's not working, let's change it to 25. Just one adjustment at a time until you get that exact balance that you need for that lighting. Keep in mind your lighting is changing all the time because we are moving. The sun's not moving. We are moving constantly. Therefore, your lighting is going to be changing all the time. So you're just going to want to make minor adjustments as the time goes by when you're shooting those. So that's my basic tip on a digital camera, how to capture a hummingbird. And hopefully that helps you, because I know that when I was learning on my own, I thought if I could just get somebody to give me the basics and no commercials, no advertising, just give me the basics. What have you learned? Share with me. So hopefully this helps. I will have other videos on other wildlife, and I will have another video on how to bring in the hummingbirds to your yard naturally. So please like and share and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you all tuning in today. Hopefully I have helped you. So get out there and shoot some hummingbirds and comment them in my underneath my page there. I want to see what you've got. I want to answer some questions if you have any. So please comment and like and share. And I hope you all have a great day and good luck. Go get some hummingbirds.